Hey, 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 you're listening to Friday's Flavor with New York's finest business bee, Jolene D. Every Friday, we're digging deep with business owners, non for profits, and entrepreneurs alike, bringing you the hottest tips and topics on the business world. You know what they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So tune in and get ready to grow, my busy bees. Welcome to Friday's Flavor with your host, Jolene D. Today we have Harry Shamlian and Brian Constantino. Did I say your name right, Harry?
You sure did.
Oh, thank God. I was like reading it and I was like, I'm going to butcher it. Oh, no. And they are with Veracity Capital. We're here to talk today about finances, and that's probably one of my top three topics to talk about because your girl loves money. I'm just saying, no, I don't love money, but we all need money. And I think most of us go into business because of it. And these guys have the what's up, the 101, whatever you call it, on money. So we're going to get right into it. First of all, tell our listeners about your firm's background and a little bit about your guys' experience.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having us on. I really appreciate being here, and
Absolutely.
I hope we're able to add some value to your listeners. But Veracity Capital was formed in the middle part of 2018, and we came together as a group of advisors and analysts that were working for a very large multinational brokerage firm with its local headquarters in the Albany area. And we felt as though the business model that we were operating under really wasn't giving clients what they needed in this environment. We were in a position where we were all working with 120 to 150 clients, and we really weren't in a position to give them the kind of attention that we felt was really important. So based on those core values and core thoughts that of how we wanted to serve our clients, we decided that we wanted to form a registered investment advisor, which is what Veracity Capital is. We're registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we work with a very limited number of clients so that we can focus on those clients in a much more in-depth way than we ever were before.
That's so refreshing to hear about your industry, because I know that in the finance industry, it's generally, a commission-based structure. And most commission-based salespeople or people in those kinds of jobs are all about taking on as many clients as possible, getting as much residual income as possible. How can I bump up my numbers? And it sounds like you guys have really put your clients first. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about your guys' culture? Because that sounds like you guys are doing something so different to other financial industry leaders.
Yeah, so you bring up a great point. The greatest thing about working here at Veracity, and one of the reasons I came on, was we're able to sit down and really get to know the client. We're devoted 365 days a year, 24/7, 365 really. And I'm just going to break down one scenario for you where we've covered pretty much everything you can cover for one client. And this client was going through a divorce. Yeah, this client was going through a divorce. Her elderly mother was living with her. She had kids ready to go to college. She needed health care. She needed to sell a house, and she needed to move into a house or purchase a house in another state. And we guided her through each one of those issues. And right now, everything's been taken care of. We've spoken with her. I'd probably say I've spoken with her at least twice a week for the last 6 months to make sure every single one of her needs was taken care of and that she was satisfied with the solution. And I can happily say that I'm satisfied with the work that Veracity did, as well as, she's still calling me every day just because she's used to talking to me. She doesn't need anything. She's like, I need to hear your voice, Brian. I just need somebody to vent to because I had you for 6 months, and I appreciate that. And that's the kind of relationship that we like to build here at Veracity with each and every one of our clients.
I love that. You guys know I'm all about that one-on-one with people, and I always value that when I'm looking at new companies or businesses to attach myself to or to promote. I love the one-on-one service aspect, because you can see a lot of like one-size-fits-all solution companies, or they kind of whitewash the entire process, and it sounds like you guys are a lot more focused on individuals, their needs and their solutions being tailored to them, which I think is fabulous.
Jolene, can I just jump in on something, because I think it's really important that what Brian just described is a perfect example of how we built the firm, the values upon which the firm was built. We really want to provide a diligent level of service. We're going to do everything that we need to do or that client needs for us to do. The example that Brian talked about, and he did a very good job of talking about what we did, but the depth of all of those things is really significant to help somebody shepherd them through the financial aid process for their child that's going to college, to help them find a loan for the home that they moved into in New York. They moved from New Hampshire. And this is somebody who hadn't worked outside the home in 14 years. So
Wow.
she didn't have an income other than her portfolio. We really had to lean on the relationships that we have with bankers to try to find a scenario for her where she could borrow the money that she needed to for that home. And those are the kinds of things that really help to shape what we do and why we do it. We're dedicated to our clients, and we call on the experience that we have. As a firm, the advisors have over 120 years of experience.
Wow.
So this is, the firm is new, we're not. We know what we're doing, and we can really help clients with the things that they need.
Wow, it sounds like you have some really good maybe partnerships. Tell me a little bit about that, because that sounds like something that maybe sets you apart as well. Because I've personally, and I know financial advisors, I have never heard of a financial advisor doing something like collaborating with a banker, collaborating with a financial aid, doing the sort of things that you just described. So tell me a little about that.
Sure. Let me start off with that notion that you haven't heard of other people doing it. And the reason why they don't do it is because they don't get paid to do it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
So, and we're not in a position, we are an advisor and we are not salespeople. We want to help clients achieve their financial goals in the way that is best in their best interest. So we are a fiduciary to clients at all times. We put their interests above our own. And I think that's one of the things that does set us apart from kind of the larger firms that are out there. But more specific to your question about partnerships with others, we're very aware of the fact that folks need help with their estate documents, as an example, especially in this environment where, as much as we hate to say it, people are getting ill, and they're getting ill quickly, and Lord knows what happens beyond that. It's vitally important that their families are protected, and they need estate documents, wills, trusts, whatever it is for their situation that makes a lot of sense. So we do have partnerships with attorneys that will help draft those documents for those folks. In addition to that, while we can advise generally on taxes, and we do that for folks, for specific tax needs, we do have partnerships with CPAs in the area so that we can help clients get really detailed, specific guidance on their particular situation. So as an example, if somebody owns commercial property or rental real estate or whatever it might be, there's some specialized tax laws that are really important that they're aware of.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we will partner with those CPAs for that. There's one other piece that I think is also important, and it kind of ties back to what we had talked about with the environment that we're in right now, and that is protection. So if a family has children, making sure that they have income replacement protection, if God forbid something were to happen to them, and being able to plan for that and making sure they're aware of it. The other thing that we do is we also do property and casualty insurance reviews so that we help guide clients to what the right amount of coverage is for their situation, whether it's automobiles or their home or whatever it might be, umbrella policies. We don't sell property and casualty insurance. We'll refer that to other partners that we have. And when I say partners, those folks that we work with without remuneration for us.
Wow.
I think that's an important aspect of all this.
I'm going to agree with you there. And that again, that's something that I feel sets you apart, because you don't see many companies who are willing to partner with other businesses to assist their clients in ways that's not going to make them money. You know what I mean? If you see a company out there, guys, all of our listeners, if you see a company out there who's doing stuff for their clients, knowing they will not make a dime off of that recommendation, go with that company. That's the level of honesty that we're looking for nowadays, that I think is going to really become a necessity in the near future, especially, is to have those types of companies that you know are doing things for the right reason. And tell me, I see a lot of do-it-yourself financial planning and investing out there. Why do you think that your business model is superior to that?
Brian, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to put out an analogy there for you, Jolene. Is you're familiar with a fingerprint, correct? And how
Yep.
unique they are. Everybody has their own fingerprint.
I got 10,
So
thank God.
Yeah, not every financial situation is the same. Everybody has their own financial fingerprint.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different problem it's slightly different than the person next to you. And we're able to customize solutions for each individual. We're not putting you in a cookie cutter product. We're doing in-depth analysis on your financial situation, on your life. We want to know everything about you so we can give you the best possible solution to meet your goals and maintain the risk you're willing to take. And I don't think anything else is more important than that. Just getting to know you as an individual and where you need to be during retirement and where your kids and family need to be thereafter.
Amen to that. Yeah, if anybody who knows me who is listening is going, oh, they're talking JoJo's language, because if there's something I say a lot on this podcast or say in general in meetings, with my clients, I hate one-size-fits-all solutions. I don't believe in one-size-fits-all solutions. And that goes, in my opinion, to about any industry that you want to speak on. I feel like any industry that's got these big one-size-fits-all cookie cutter plans, that's just for their own sake and for their own simplicity. And that doesn't necessarily put any client in the number one spot, the hot seat. And that's what it's all about in business. If you're not taking care of your clients, what are you doing? Why are you in business? Why? And the major question on everybody's mind, mine included, because we all know that things have rapidly changed in the past 8 weeks in New York, especially. We've seen huge change, regulations. The quarantines, shutdowns. Now we're not even allowed to go to the store if you're not wearing a mask. And by the way, all you folks I keep seeing up in the Pricey Chopper on Eastern Ave, what is wrong with you? Why do I wear a mask and you're not? I'm seeing y'all. I'm going to start taking pictures. I'm going to start blasting. Y'all. But, tell me what you guys think about this pandemic and how it's going to impact the financial future of a lot of people, and maybe how they can try to mitigate those effects.
Sure. One thing I want to build on something that Brian had mentioned, and that is when we talk about this level of uniqueness, when you spin back 8 weeks, 12 weeks, all of the messaging that you heard in the financial media especially was, oh, you can do it yourself, just put money in an index fund and forget about it. Well, guess what? The world doesn't always work that way.
No.
And what's taken place in the last 8 to 12 weeks is exactly why we have always said that it makes sense for people to have an advisor, somebody who can coach them, a certified financial planner, not a broker, a certified financial planner that will take a look at their entire situation and actually put together a financial plan for them so that they have a roadmap for what that success might look like. Embedded in those plans are contingencies for things that may just go wrong. And this has been something that has certainly gone wrong in a major way and will in fact have real implications for people, whether it's somebody who is nearing retirement and lost their job sooner than they expected to. So that affects their retirement planning. It affects their legacy planning, all those things. To somebody at the other end of the spectrum who is just starting out their career and is trying to figure out what they're going to do for their student loans, how are they going to get married, have children, plan for college for their children. Those are all things that, frankly, it helps to have guidance, and it helps to have guidance from somebody who's been there, from a firm that has seen all of those situations, that has tremendous resources behind it, and is able to help people navigate through those difficult situations. Now, this will get better over time. I don't want to paint a gloom and doom picture forever, but it does require some real detailed planning and honoring the fact that those contingencies could happen, and how exactly are you going to adjust to that? It's not just about how much money you make, it's also about how much money you spend and how you plan and you utilize those resources.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think that I'm really hoping that one of the positive outcomes of this is that people Brian's age, for instance, who didn't have a financial advisor, who didn't have a financial education, who are listening to this, that they go, and they see the situation that we're all in, that they go, you know what? I need help. And I think I need somebody to walk me through what is an emergency savings account? What's a short-term savings account? What's a long-term savings account look like? What does life insurance look like? Because, God forbid, but things like that happen. People pass away, and then you don't want to leave your wife and kids in a situation where you can't replace your income once you're gone, especially if you're on, let's say Brian's got kids. I don't know if you got kids, Brian, but you look young.
Not yet.
No, you look young. You look like that's, I have 3 children under the age of 13, and God forbid something happened to me. Not only does my husband lose my income, he loses my support. The person who was there taking care of those kids when he was at work. Now he's suddenly got an extra amount of bills on his hand that he didn't have before, and he's down an entire income, and he's down an entire support system, and he's just down in general. Can you imagine? And to not plan for that scenario is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that young people make. And I'm really, it sounds morbid and a little sick, but I hope that they learn from this situation that people, God forbid, pass away when they're not supposed to, and you got to plan for it. And people lose their jobs out of nowhere for an uncertain amount of time, and things like that happen. Markets crash, that happens, and you need somebody who can consult with you, advise you, and kind of hold your hand through the length of that scenario, which is probably your entire life. And an advisor costs how much? Less, I mean, I don't know what you guys charge in terms of consultation fees, but could you give us an idea?
Sure. Certainly the first time we meet with somebody to get to know one another, there's no charge for doing that. And then based on their situation and the work that we're going to be doing, what they might need us for, we charge an asset-based fee, but we also have a model where we can just charge a financial planning fee. So for somebody that may not have a large portfolio or a large number of assets, but really needs planning help, we're able to do that for a flat fee on an annual basis. And again, that's determined based on the complexity of somebody's situation.
Yeah, sounds like it's tailored to you, which is good. It's minimal though, folks. I know I've dealt with financial advisors before, and I think what a lot of people fail to understand is how necessary it is to have one, and how completely inexpensive it is comparatively to what you'll receive. You'll get long-term, I'm talking long-term plans, things that'll be your roadmap. And I like that one of you, I think it was you, Brian, who said the word roadmap, because that's what it is. It's a long journey when it comes to money. We all need it to survive. We all need, to plan on how to manage our finances in the long term, from here until retirement, and then from retirement until you're, we all know. You're
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. There's one other thing related to that too, is that over the years, we've had countless situations where we've advised somebody to do something that has saved them literally thousands of dollars, where we've more and more than paid for ourselves. So those situations come along typically more than once in a client's financial life.
Yeah, and I mean, look at I think what you had said was great, that, you know, this is not all doom and gloom. I personally, I'm not 100 years old, but I've seen one market crash, two recessions in my lifetime. And you just got to learn how to ride the waves, and that's exactly what folks like Harry and Brian do. And I'm glad to hear that you don't think it's all doom and gloom from here on out, because I feel like a lot of people are in that mindset. And that's, you know, a big part of what I want to do is talk to people about the reality of the situation, and that we're all going to get through this. Trust me, worse things have happened. We don't want it to be any worse than the worst things that have happened, of course. So we plan for the worst and hope for the best. So if you don't currently have a financial advisor and you live in New York State, you should most certainly be reaching out to Brian and Harry. And are you only licensed in New York State, guys?
No, in fact, I have clients in many parts of the country, from the West Coast into the eastern part of Massachusetts. So, and as a firm, we have offices around the country. We have an office in Southern California, in Dallas, in Atlanta, and we have 2 in Florida. So if a client really is looking for somebody that's in their backyard, we typically have somebody that can help out. Although, to be honest, I'm very well versed over the years in working with clients, and we do visit clients, you know, when we're able to get back out and travel again. That will happen again.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so they're all over the place in that case. So all of our listeners from anywhere, if you need to get started on a portfolio, if you haven't heard from your financial advisor and you can't get them on the phone and they're ignoring you, or if you've, you know, been in it for a while and are just looking to get another opinion, I want you to consider Veracity Capital. These guys are top notch. I really appreciate you all being on the show today and giving your input on the situation. And I love that it wasn't all doom and gloom. And thank you guys so much. You've been listening to Friday's Flavor with Veracity Capital and your hostess with the mostest, JoJo. All right. God bless, guys. Take care.